It's time to scream. Welcome to the Horror Syndicate Discourse. And I know this is just the Horror Syndicate up all night, not Discourse. I'm wearing the Discourse shirt though. And so when I said welcome, I looked right at the shirt and it's like, is it Discourse night? No, that's Wednesday nights. And if you missed the last two episodes, we have Dawn of the Dead from 2004, which was a lot of fun to talk about. Uh, we had Night of the Living Dead 2 weeks prior. So check those out both on our YouTube channel. Which, of course, I have to do it, but subscribe to the YouTube channel. So Scream 6 is coming up in a few weeks, about a month exactly, it looks like, because it's on the 10th, I believe. So Seth and I, as we do on our Friday night shows, we decided to talk about the Scream movies. We are taking a break from Friday the 13th, which it's painfully, it's like, I want to know Seth's score for Jason Takes Manhattan. And I just pushed it back by about a month, and I'm like, oh. Anyway, so we'll get back to the Friday the 13th movies and do the overall ranking when we wrap up the Scream movies. But of course, we want to know what you think. We're talking about the very first Scream from 1996 tonight, Wes Craven's movie that kind of brought horror back after a really kind of down decade for horror. Of course, early you had Child's Play 2, Night of the Living Dead, Candyman, Misery, Silence of the Lambs, but there's In the Mouth of Madness. There's not much in the early 90s. Like if you take 1990 to 1995 before Scream was released and compare it to 1980 to 1985, you can tell it's not the same. So let me bring Seth in and we will get to talking. The reason why I do it like this is because I am a narcissist, and I think I'm the most important person in the world. So I like to talk first. So no, I'm joking. Seth, what's going on, man?
What's up, dude?
Not much. I just finished watching all the Scream movies over the past couple weeks, and why the hell? Because we like Scream.
And because we love to torture.
If you don't,
Oh, his new name, by the way, is V. Richards.
V. Richards.
Yeah, it's like Reed Richards. He likes to stretch.
Oh.
Hellraiser Revelations is not better than Scream. Come on, man.
Yeah, Sean puts up a question right away from me. Is Terminator a horror movie?
The first one, oh yeah.
Okay. I respectfully disagree. So, yes, it fucking is. What? His name, Reed Richards? V. Richards? Stretch. Anyway, so if you've been watching our Friday night shows, we discuss the movie in different categories, and then at the end of the show, we show our overall scores. Seth's is different than mine. Mine is different than Seth's, obviously, because I just said that, but reversed. And then we do a overall score, which is what we'll use for the overall ranking when we do our ranking shows. And then we also now have the audience scores because I'm doing the 5-star rankings. And boy, Seth, have you seen these 5-star ratings on our page? Holy shit. Train to Busan, last time I checked it, was over like 200,000.
It was I looked earlier. It was at 212,000.
Was it really?
Reading a bunch of comments. Oh yeah.
I can't even keep up with it. It like, and the best part is we last Friday, or it was Thursday or Friday, we hit 25,000, which was a major goal for our Facebook following. We wanted to hit 25,000. Well, I wanted to hit 25,000 for a long time, and we are on the cusp, 33 away from 27,000. So 2,000 new people following the page in a week's time, which is, in my opinion, huge. So I'm very excited to have everybody here. Anybody who watches the show live or watches the show after the fact, we're glad you're here. So I'm going to check the Train to Busan. It's a great movie. By the way, we're talking about that in 2 weeks on the Discourse show. So it's going to be interesting trying to figure out how to get the audience score out of 212,000 ratings, 5-star ratings. And if you are familiar
You
with
know,
our, or not familiar with our Facebook page, we are doing 5-star ratings on every movie we can get our fucking grubby little hands on. Go ahead, Seth. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say you got a lot of counting to do.
Yeah, yeah. I do. But hey, the Fog's birthday post also got 21,000 uh,
That's awesome.
whatever's. Yeah, so I love it. I love the interaction. I love seeing people talk to each other. I love seeing people trash talk each other because that's happening on our page more and more,
I
especially
saw
when I
that.
put up the post. Have you seen some of these? When I put up your post about, I think was it Julia? Or no, it was
Yep.
for the 2022 Hellraiser. People were arguing about whether or not it was good. I was like, yes, this is. I'd love to see this shit.
You
Uh,
see the comments on your Exorcist post?
no, I haven't looked yet. I'll go look. Why is it good?
Yeah, I mean, people get really bent out of shape that like some people aren't giving it like 5 stars.
I mean, it's people's choice, you know.
Yeah, and there's like one guy who gave it like a 1 star, and he's like arguing with a bunch of people.
So I'm noticing there's certain people. Ben Rodriguez is a guy who's really like getting in on these people. The greatest, yeah. I'll have to read these later. But we did Scream, and Scream had a pretty decent score. We did all 5 Scream movies. Let me catch up on some of these comments here. Um, Even James Cameron said Terminator was inspired by Halloween. Well, I get it. I just don't. I don't agree. Uh, the emoji rankings helps. Yeah, yeah, I know. This is why the page has blown up in the last few days, but it's not the only reason. The anniversary of the Fog has helped a lot too, and I put up Chloe Grace Moretz today, and that got almost 300 reactions, so that's helping too. But even so, our website is having a lot of interaction. Jason Takes Manhattan is one of the strangest endings ever. Someone on the FFT page said the ending was her going to PTSD after being raped by and being drugged. Let's not forget that. Uh, what's the next one? Thoughts on I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot? Makes me sad. Well, it's not a reboot. I get. Well, is it a reboot or is it a requel? It's a requel, right? Because that's a term now.
Yeah, I
Because they said
guess.
Freddie Prinze Jr. and what's her name are coming back, Jennifer Love
Yeah,
Hewitt.
yeah,
So that to me would be a requel, and I don't really give a shit. The first one was just okay, if that. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that movie?
yeah. I mean, I like the first one just fine, and like it's not like a favorite. It's not one that I put in a lot. Last time I watched it was like, let's see here, maybe 4 years ago when I showed it to when I showed the first two to the kids.
Mm.
Um, I mean, it's fine. I'm not. I mean, as far as this news, I don't care. But
Yeah, I mean,
I'll go see it. You know, if it looks decent.
I don't know if I'll go see it, but I'll watch it. And I've seen all 3 of them. I'll always know what you did last summer, and that I couldn't even finish that movie. So
No, it's hilarious because my buddy came over last night and we were talking about movies, and he's like, against my better judgment, I decided to watch part three, and he's like, just he's telling me all about it. He told me not to bother.
it's terrible. I couldn't even get through it.
Yeah,
It didn't have anything to do, as far as I could tell, with any of the main characters or the main story. It's like one of the most pointless sequels of all time. Um, anyway, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I liked the first one. Okay. It never blew me away or anything like that. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I didn't watch the show, and there was a show on Amazon. I guess it's still there. I am looking forward to the new Scream too. I think my level of excitement is about an 8 now. I think it'll rise right before I get to the theater. What about you?
yeah, it's already starting to rise for me because I don't know, just the trailers and everything. It just kind of sold me, and it's like the the new team doing this. Like with part five, they kind of really stuck to the Wes Craven, Kevin Williamson like
Yeah,
formula, and
yeah.
it feels like now that they did that, now they're going to be able to have some breathing room, and I think this could very possibly be the best sequel since part
Yeah, I
two.
mean, it's looking like it could be. Yeah, yeah. Cocaine Bear comes out in a couple of weeks. Um,
Oh yeah,
it is a cult calling it now. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. We did a show a couple of weeks ago where we kind of after the trailer came out, kind of did our theories. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I based on the trailer, the one trailer, I'm not watching anything else. I'm not looking at anything else. I'm watching the one trailer and that's it. I'm going to go into the movie as fresh as I can, staying away from theory time, stuff like that, because I don't want to. First of all, I don't have it ruined, so I'm going to try to go as early as possible on that Thursday or Friday, whatever. Like, excuse me, tickets aren't available here yet, but I'm going to get them as soon as I can because I want to see it. The kids want to see it too, and they've seen the other ones, so it should be a good time. And I'm looking forward to it. 8 right now. I'm at an 8 right now. I'll be at a 10 for Scream 6 in about 2 weeks probably. I'll be honest. I was at a cool 5 until I watched all 5 movies. I was like, I don't know. I feel like I'm an 8. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, good call. Yeah, good call. Seth did something last year I thought was pretty awesome. He didn't watch anything for a couple of movies and went in completely blind on Barbarian and what was the other one?
Barbarian, X, Pearl, and then the
Oh,
Northman, and a couple others as well. But
wow. So you're just going, man, I think that's a great way to do it. Because, I mean, think about back in the early 90s, especially the early 90s, how often did we see trailers? You know, I went and saw a movie, I can't remember what it was called because somebody said it might be good. And I saw it and I loved it. I think it was called Small Soldiers. Do you remember that movie?
yeah,
It's like the
yeah,
little the toys came to life and they had this big
yeah,
battle. The movie was fucking badass.
yeah.
And yeah, I just went because somebody's like, "Yeah, you got to see Small Soldiers," and I was like, "All right." And I went and saw it. I think on Christmas Day, and I loved it. I was like, this movie rocks," you know. Anyway, so let's get into Scream because let's bring back Stu. Yeah, why not? Um, so I know the Scream franchise is definitely one of your favorites, right? And if you could put it anywhere with the other franchises, Hellraiser, Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Child's Play, where do you think it ranks among the big franchises? And I'd love all you to answer that in the comments below.
Well, I will say that as much as I do love the Scream movies, it's probably below all of those. You know,
That's a
I
weird.
prefer Child's Play, Hellraiser, all the big ones before Scream. But I still love the Scream movies, especially the first two movies.
I think I like Scream better than Child's Play,
Oh, do you?
but yeah, I'm like I like them, but Child's Play has a couple of weak movies that I really don't care for. Scream to me does not have any really. I mean, 3 is the weakest, but I really enjoy it still. If you think
Yeah,
about it that way. Also, it's a killer doll, and that's never been a thing for me. And
yeah.
I don't know. I would say Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th. Probably Scream would be fourth. Probably. I'd have to think about it a little bit, unless we start counting Hammer Horror because the Hammer Horror would just jump the list. Because I would fucking love me some Hammer Horror.
We,
Uh,
we should do a ranking of like horror franchises.
we absolutely will. Absolutely. We'll do that after we're done with Scream, so we can keep pushing back. Jason Takes Manhattan. Screaming Nightmare on Elm
Sounds good to
Street.
me.
I know it does because it doesn't only push back, Jason Takes Manhattan. It also pushes back Jason Goes to Hell and Freddy versus Jason and all that shit. Anyway, so let's get into Scream. Why don't you start us off with what the story is, and we're gonna go down the list and talk about each category. I don't have any graphics, unfortunately. I've been really busy, but let's talk about the writing and the directing and the story of this movie, and what about it captivates us. I want you to do it.
Oh, yes. So I mean I don't know, the story is basically a group. There's a group of friends who are all very well known with. They all know horror movies very well, and a couple of them take their love of scary movies one step too far, as the poster says. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and it's a, especially the first time seeing it, it was just, for me it was a fun little whodunit. And then, at the time too, especially if you saw it before you heard the hype about it,
hmm,
from people, just not knowing that there's two killers, because that was a rare
different.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. And and it was a pleasant surprise. And I think, as far as the writing goes, Kevin Williamson has his, stylized way of writing, especially dialogue. But it's fun and it's fast paced. And I think the characters are actually pretty likable in it. I mean, I even like, you know, Gail Weathers, who's a bitch in it, but that's a nice little contrast to someone like Dewey, who's a pushover.
hmm,
Um, but yeah,
yeah, and it's I love a good whodunit, and this really itched that scratch for me when I saw Scream for the first time in I think it was '97 because it was already out for a little bit when I'd seen it, and I was 16, so it hit me with the right characters. The ages were about the same as mine for the most part, except for they were all in their 20s. But uh, it kind of hit me at the right time, especially since I was like dumpster diving in horror back then, and I say that with love as much as possible because I was watching mostly Full Moon Entertainment stuff, Puppet Master, Subspecies, Doll Man versus Demonic Toys, all that stuff, because there was like literally once a year you get a good horror movie, and by that point there was two in '95 and that I can think of offhand, which are In the Mouth of Madness and Lord of Illusion. Those were the
yeah,
only two really good ones that came out that year, and I can't remember '94 offhand, but you know what I'm saying though. Wes Craven's New
yeah,
Nightmare. So
yeah,
like, and this was the perfect storm, I think, for my generation for horror. Wes Craven, who's behind it, who's behind my favorite horror movie of all time, arguably one of the best horror directors of all time. Kevin Williamson's writing things like Dawson's Creek, right? So he's got his he's got his foot on the throat of the '90s teen already. If anybody knew who he was at the time, but and it's got all those elements that we were craving from teens, like me and you and some of the others, to horror fans. Because this movie, and I'm gonna say this till the day I die, this movie resurrected the rotting corpse of horror, and nobody can deny that.
yeah. Well, I mean, especially the slasher subgenre, because slashers were kind of starting to fade as the old franchises were kind of sinking in quality.
Well, yeah, for sure. By 1989, as we talked about before, with Jason Goes to Hell, I mean, Jason Takes Manhattan and Revenge of Michael Myers and Freddy Has a Kid and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, it was sinking and fast. Chucky's Child's Play 2 was really good, and then Child's Play 3 the following year just kind of fell flat. I liked it. I mean, you like it for the most part, but it fell flat, and that was like the last gasp of the horror we knew from the '80s, and it for 4 or 5 years there it was hanging on by a thread. And slashers, with Scream, because obviously Scream started a whole new trend, but Scream really, and slasher, I think that was the thing to do. And I think slasher might be the most popular subgenre of horror.
Oh,
Uh,
it is.
yeah, I mean, people may say zombies or ghost movies or whatever. I think it's fucking slasher, man, because most of
I don't
us
know if you
grew up.
remember, but I don't know if you remember, but like maybe like a year or two ago, I did like this poll. I actually did it in the Horror Syndicate group. I did it in a couple of other horror groups and on my own
Mhm.
page. And I went through each of the different subgenres of horror and asked people to vote. What's their preferred subgenre of horror, and slashers just dominated.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, well, they think of the average horror fan. They like things like Jason and Michael Myers and stuff like that. So, it makes sense that slashers are, and it took a slasher to revive the franchise. This is awesome. This doesn't happen very often, but 69mega.com looks like we found a girl for you. Is commenting. Thank you for that. Fucking bots! I swear, had to block the user, and it came back up anyway. Like, it says error occurred. Get out of my comments section, motherfucker. Anyway, um,
I got a question for you, because
what's up?
obviously you see it a lot too, where Scream does, as much as it has a lot of people who franchise, there's also a lot of people who hate it, right? We have one of our
Scream.
pals in here right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
honestly, I didn't think. I thought it was more popular than it is based on our 5-star rankings. It's not getting as many as even like a couple of Hellraiser movies. So,
right. Well,
go ahead.
yeah. But like I've known quite a few people over the years who don't like it. But my question is, do you think it would be less hated or whatever if it didn't start a trend? If it wasn't for all the imitators trying to be it, do you think there'd be a lot less people who are
No,
no?
I don't. I think it would be hated regardless. Just like movies like these so-called uh, uh, elevated horror movies. It's kind of like an elevated horror movie in a way, and it's meta, as they say. It's like there's movies that people shit on that I think are really good anyway, and they shit on it just for the same reason, like The Ring. I like that movie. A lot of people shit on that movie. So I don't know, man. I just don't the trend in the script. I don't think that's the problem because the other movies are pale in comparison, and there aren't that many really. Uh, the Ring scared the crap out. I I just mentioned The Ring. How about that? Um, no, I think that was a big part of it, though, is the meta commentary. I mean, he quotes fucking Psycho and other movies, like in the movie right away, pretty much. I was watching The Exorcist. Um, yeah, I like The Ring. Two is bad, I'll admit that. But like, I when I got into horror, like, there's a lot of movies, not into horror, but into the community at large. There's a lot of movies out there that I was like, I thought people loved, and come to find out, I was wrong. I just love them, So I think Scream is one of those divisive movies. So you either like
Yeah,
it or hate it. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I like Scream is awesome, but we were in our 40s now. We were busy taking our Metamucil. I've never had that before. What does that do? Is that what makes you poop? Keeps
I'm
you
not
regular? Are
sure.
you getting your Metamucil right now?
No.
anyway, no. But I love Scream, and no matter what anybody says, I'll never stop liking it. I don't understand the hate. Like, I don't think the script is bad. I don't think the meta angle is bad. Like I said, it hit me right where I needed to be hit at the time. So, whoa, whoa, Sean. I love having you here, but man, that is brutal to say. Like, I like
Shots
Scream.
fired.
Woo! My goodness, I was sent to heaven just now, or hell. Woo! I love horror, not gory movies. There's a difference. Would you agree? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But horror, gory movies are still horror movies. Um, that's different genres. And I'm gonna have Seth tell you why it's good. Seth likes it more than I do. Sorry, I was trying to take a dump. So yeah, I mean, what is there about Scream to like? Like as V asks, please teach him. He's gonna say talk shit on it anyway, but
I mean, it's it's a well directed movie for
Mhm.
starters. Yeah, it's a little bit more polished. It's not your gritty. It's not ultra.
Grindhouse looking. Yeah,
It's not ultra gory. Um, and it's not really about the kills. It's about the story of it. It's about the characters. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a fun movie. It's very fast
well,
paced. I mean, every time I put it in, it feels like it's over with
yeah,
before you know.
and it's like a 2 hour movie. It's fast paced, but the thing is like I was intrigued from the beginning. Like who killed this girl? Who just killed Drew Barrymore? And you see Drew Barrymore in the poster. They pulled the Psycho. I mean, they used a lot of tropes from horror, and being a horror fan, it felt like I was, almost like I was being acknowledged in a way, you know, in this movie, almost represented. Randy is all of us, kind of, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And at the same time, it's like American Pie but horror. And I don't know how you feel about the American Pie movies, but I saw myself in one of these characters. I saw a friend of mine. I saw a girl. In these characters, and so it's probably the connection more than anything for me is why I like it because I connected so much with these characters and these people because I totally saw myself as part Randy and honestly part Billy, but without the homicidal tendencies. There's like I remember when I watched Scream the first time, the shirt that Billy Loomis is wearing at the beginning, I fucking had that shirt. My hairstyle was like his, and I was kind of the dark, kind of brooding type guy that he was, even in the beginning of the movie before you find out he's a killer. And so, like connecting with it, and I thought the script and the story are really good. It kept you guessing because you kept like ruling Billy out or you kept ruling whoever out, and you never thought Stu would be the killer, one of the killers. And that's something I like. I love to have a movie that keeps me guessing, and that takes you right back to Friday the 13th. You know, and so that's one of the things I love about it. It reminded me of old horror movies from the 80s that I grew up with. I connected with the characters, and I really did like the story because it kept me guessing. And then it's a slasher, and then the end, it's so awesome. They corner her in the kitchen. You think Gail might be dead or she's knocked out. Dewey should be dead. You think he's dead. Randy should be dead. It's all this. They just keep throwing shit at you. And then Matthew Lillard's performance is hilarious and psychotic. And there's so much to this movie that I love that I don't know. Like it's one of those movies that I look at. Unless you're not a slasher fan, I don't know why you don't like it. And people can say, "Oh, the script is bullshit" or whatever. How is it bullshit? What's bullshit about it? Like I want to know why you hate it. I love it because there's many reasons, and I love the cast too. We're gonna go down the list of all the things and casting. I love the cast from Skeet Ulrich or Ulrich, however you say his name, Nev Campbell. I love Gail, Courtney Cox's Gail, like so much. There's not a weak link in this cast. And going in, I thought Drew Barrymore, who I think I had a little bit of a crush on back then. I thought she was going to be the lead because she's on the poster, and they pulled a fucking Marion Crane on us. I didn't expect that, and those are some of the reasons why I loved it. And Jamie Kennedy, like I swear to God, I had three friends like him, Randy. So yeah, yeah,
yeah.
great female lead. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and like the opening scene is just really, it's a really cool way to start the movie too. The whole thing with Drew Barrymore, one especially seeing it back then when it first came out
Hmm.
for the first time, and not knowing that she was going to get killed in that scene because she was big back then. And it was to me, it's a very effective scene too. There's the horror trivia and the menacing voice from Roger Jackson,
Hmm.
and just yeah,
The
very
simple, even the simple costume works really well,
oh
because it
yeah,
makes it
yeah,
look like somebody could pick that up anywhere, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's mentioned in the movie.
Sean makes some good points about Halloween and Scream, putting them side by side, but we wouldn't have Scream without Halloween, so it's the chicken and the egg situation here. Um, I love this film when I saw it. I grew up loving 80s slashers. This one was brilliant. And I think it is too. I think it, fuck, I'm Randy. Well, hello, Randy. I had a feeling you were horny. Anyway, yeah, so I'm somewhat passionate about Scream, because it did a lot for me personally as a 16-year-old who loved horror. That's another thing about it that it did for me. I don't know, like everybody knew I liked horror movies. If they wanted to watch a scary movie, I had all the Friday the 13th movies, all the Elm Street movies, I had The Shining, Rosemary's Baby. Everybody came to my house. So, but in high school, everybody went to see this movie, and it made me infinitely more popular with everybody because they wanted to talk to me about scary movies. Like, what else would you suggest? It's like, step on up, like that's how it felt. And that's how it is now with Marvel and DC movies the last 20 years or so. These people made fun of me for reading comics. Now they're like, hey, so what does it mean when Ant-Man said such and such? It's like, fuck you, figure it out yourself. Anyway, yeah, just Scream really, Texas Chainsaw Massacre for me. Um, Scream really kind of just brought horror back to me. And I mean, the 2000s were kind of dead too, but like it helped resuscitate this, and that's the biggest reason I think I love it, other than connecting with it. Um, I'm looking at the list here of things. It's some great kills. It's very entertaining too. I think. I mean, like my kids are always enthralled, even though. And the best part is they're after you find out who the killers are, it's like who killed who. You start thinking about that, and
Yeah,
like my daughter last time we were watching, she's like, "Well, Stu does this." Towards the end of the movie, and every time Stu uses two hands, it's like that's a good point. Like, do you think that's Stu, or do you think who killed Casey Becker at the beginning? So it's yeah, and also I think it's a good series to show
mine too.
kids. Yeah, like anybody about 7 or 8 and up, they'll probably end up loving Scream. But like it is a polished movie, but it's also made to look like I think like one of those teen shows, almost made to look like it's a safe type of place, but it's not. I mean, the fucking principal dies. If all bets are off if the principal dies. Has everyone considered it might be Randy or Randy's sister? No, Randy's dead, and his sister has 2 kids. I don't think she off her own kids. Stu and Billy killed Casey, yeah, and Billy killed Hembry, yep, and Tatum, Stu killed Kenny, yes. All that makes sense based on where everybody was at the time. Stu was inside the party, so Billy had to kill Tatum. They probably had a deal anyway, you know.
Yeah,
And then they were both at Casey Becker's house because there's no way that would have been one person. And yeah, I agree with all of those. But like, well, I guess he could probably do it. Hanging Principal Henry from the goalpost. That sounds like it would be tough. Yeah, I don't think
well, I mean,
Randy.
we never saw that happen, so I mean, I still
Oh,
think
they just said it. That's right. That's right. I
so.
think I've seen it in my head though.
Yeah, I mean, I still think Principal Henry is coming back as the big reveal in Scream 7. Time's
He
going to tell him that
he
one.
doesn't necessarily mean he was stabbed, but it doesn't say he was killed.
He's gonna he's gonna show them for being
It,
the heartless, desensitized little shits that they are.
Principal Henry is coming back for revenge in Scream V1.
You heard it
So,
here first.
huh?
I was just saying you heard it here first.
You heard it here first, folks. Yeah, I don't think Randy's sister, because 2 of those people are her kids. So I don't think it's going to be her. And I do think Randy's dead. I thought about whether or not it could be Randy, but I'm certain it's Randy's dead. Well, yeah, that's true. Anyway, um,
No, he's coming back. Damn it.
coming back, I still subscribe to the theory that Stu is going to be coming back. It just makes a lot of sense to me. I'm also kind of like leaning towards Sam being a killer. I really like that because I don't like her character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't like her character. She's the worst. Anyway, she's not the worst.
Well,
Chris.
I mean, it'd be kind of cool though if like she was the killer, but she didn't know it because she did have mental issues. She was taking medication. She was seeing
She's
her
off,
father.
off of her meds, and it'd be interesting is if we saw some kind of like thing where Billy is killing them, but it's actually her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like they make it look like it's somebody like a Billy, but it's actually her. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's finish talking about Scream. It's I know it's hard because there's like we talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago about theories, and there's more like in my head now. There's more in your head too. Um, but what are some of the other things about the movie that you love? Let me ask you this: what is your favorite kill in the movie?
Uh, my favorite kill would probably be, I would say Casey Becker in the beginning.
Hmm.
It
Did you
was
hear that they
very
put her liver in the mailbox? I heard they put her liver in the mailbox.
just getting mad, Randy. Better leave her alone. Um,
Liver.
yeah, I think the opening kill. I mean, it was actually especially seeing the aftermath of it a little bit as the camera's going closer towards her.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
I mean, even Steve getting gutted.
Oh yeah, I forgot
In
about
that,
him.
yeah. But then
Yeah,
I also like the improbable one of Tatum. I don't know. I just like when her head squishes.
yeah, that was pretty good. But I like Billy's death the best. It
Yeah,
was, I love that line. Not in my movie. She shoots him in the head, and
yeah.
it's I love it. It's so simple, and it's a gunshot, but I really like it. Yeah,
That the for
yeah.
me like this with
He
this
has no
series
depth.
like the biggest.
Wow. What?
I
Say
think the
again?
biggest. I think the biggest strength with this series though is the character of Sidney Prescott as the protagonist. And I think Nev Campbell is great in that role because she's very convincing as someone who's vulnerable, but she can also be tough and pull it together. Um, and
She
she's
has something about the way she looks. She looks vulnerable, just
yeah,
like immediately. She doesn't look like she's very strong. She kind of has this nervous look to her. But go ahead. I want you to explain
right.
more.
Well, she's your average person,
Yeah.
and she kind of gets plunged into this nightmare, and as she keeps going on, she has to be strong, and she's kind of got a little bit of an attitude to her. When she first gets the phone call, she's kind of talking back a little bit, and she fights back.
Picking her nose a little
Um,
bit.
yeah. Um, and then especially as the series progresses on, she continues to grow stronger, have a really good fighting attitude. But I think she's a great protagonist, and I think that's why this series holds up very well too. So
I also like that they were able to get her back every time, except for this latest time. Maybe I know that
yeah,
we've said things, but you never know what can happen. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I like her character arc, not just in the series, but even in this movie. Somebody mentioned it earlier. She does have a pretty good character arc, and I always talk about character arcs when we talk about these movies. And I like characters who aren't. I don't like level playing characters. I like the ones that do have an arc, and she
yeah,
does. And hey, Gail does too, really, if you think about it.
oh yeah,
And those are definitely my two favorite characters. I never was a big Dewey person. You know,
I love Dewey.
I like him, but I don't like the way he was treated. We'll get to it when we get talk about Scream 3, but I don't like the way he was treated in Scream 3 almost
Oh,
at
I know,
all.
me too.
Yeah, and
Well,
we've talked about that a little bit on in our chat, but yeah, I mean overall I like him, but I don't know something about strong females that I've always liked, and I think I've talked about that many times in different places how much I love a good strong female character. And that's one of the things I love about Nancy and Kirsty from Hellraiser. They both adapt to their situation. They weren't just running away. Like Kirsty, like she just had Pinhead right in the palm of her hand. Pretty much.
yeah, yeah,
And Nancy set up all those traps and shit, and she had a plan to stop Freddy.
yeah,
And the thing about Sydney I like is that she lost her mom, and people do kind of treat her a little bit differently, and she also kind of adapts to the situation, especially after her and Billy get naked, which is a great scene, by the way. And I don't mean that because of sex or anything. I mean that the way they're doing PJ Souls and yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I just really like that scene, the way it's set up. And of course, one of my favorite scenes is in there too is with Randy and the rules, and then Stu, of course, has to, I'll be right back. I love that fucking scene. How could
yeah,
you not?
yeah. I
Sometimes
mean,
girls second guess their boyfriend in the movies, but she did. Yeah. Especially after he was arrested and dropped that phone. Anyway, what were you going to say? You were going to say something.
oh, I mean, I was gonna say, I mean, I guess my one kind of nitpick is the rules. I mean, it's kind of bullshit to begin with. I mean, if the movie that they're watching at the end is John Carpenter's Halloween,
Hmm.
in which Laurie Strode and Annie Brackett go for a little joyride, passing a joint
Hmm.
before they go to their babysitting duties. Um, and just the whole, you know, don't have sex or whatever, the whole morality thing. Um, I've always felt like is just stupidity, but
I think Lori begrudgingly succumbed to peer pressure when she was handed that joint,
she's far
and,
too sensitive.
and she didn't, and she didn't inhale. So that's so there you go. She Bill Clinton that joint. Anyway, that's a '90s kid reference. Anyway, yeah. So Scream, we both love it. I think the entirety of the horror syndicate loves the movie. Because I know Morgan, who I don't know if she's still with us or not. As far as the horror syndicate, she's still alive. But I know I'm almost certain when she applied to be a part of the horror syndicate, sent me why she loved Scream so much, and that is the longest viewing of how. Yes, yes, it was. Uh, well, he paused it at least probably more than once. But she got the job working with us because of her love of a Scream. And Jared, I'm not sure how he feels about Scream. I'm not sure if he likes it or not. He's not a huge slasher guy. He's more of a oddities type movie. Especially he loves Italian movies, which I do too. But I know Nate loves Scream. He loves to call everybody by their first name. Yeah, when I met Skeet. But anyway, what else do you got? Anything else you want to say before we get to the scores?
um, no, no,
I know we didn't go down the list, but I'm like, how you really need to talk about the editing of the movie? Like
it
I was,
was yeah. I mean, it was fine in that
yeah,
area.
I like having just a kind of a loosey goosey conversation about things. Where the horror syndicate discourse show, it's still kind of loosey goosey, but we have those new topics and stuff, which I actually really like.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But as anybody knows, we have, excuse me, 10 categories. Seth, can you read off the categories to everybody? Do you have them there?
Yeah, sure.
where we rate on a score of 1 to 10 in each category, and then we come up with a final score. Go ahead.
So the categories are writing, directing, cast, cinematography, editing, score, production design, kills, effects, and entertainment.
Yes. So, and then scores between 1 and 10. Point fives are always welcome as well. I still haven't employed the point five yet in anything that I've rated. I think I need to start trying that out. Um, I'm a solid number guy. So after that, we come up with a percentage score, like a Rotten Tomatoes type of thing. So Seth, after rating the 1996 Wes Craven masterpiece, Scream, and yes, I believe it is a masterpiece, he gives it a 93%. Expand on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this is a really fun and fast-paced movie with likable characters, and I always enjoy watching it. I felt like I gave the writing an 8 because I thought it was, I was fine with the Kevin Williamson style of writing. Um, Directing, I gave that a 10 because I mean Wes Craven did really good, and I did the same for the cinematography as well. Um, this movie has some camera angles that some of the sequels haven't. He hasn't done with some of the sequels that he's made. Um, the score from Marco Beltrami is really good. It kind of got annoying how it was kind of used in other movies,
Mm-hmm.
especially Halloween Water. Um, Production design was really good. The kills I gave around an 8. They were decent, um, and most importantly is the entertainment, which I gave it a 10 because I've loved this movie since it came out, and it's a movie that I can still watch and have fun with, and yeah, just has not gotten old with me. So, I mean, I rate this one pretty high.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit harder on movies, I guess. But I've got a little bit different rating, but still not too bad. I think it might be the highest rating, um, highest rating of any movie that we've done so far, maybe. Which I gave it an 86%, which I think is a fair score. And I don't have my list in
Yeah,
front of me of how I rated it, but there's I don't think I'll ever have it. Like my favorite horror movie is Elm Street. It will not be a 100%. I don't think I'll ever do that. It might get a 95 or something like. I think Halloween got a 94 or something like that, and I hold that in pretty high regard. But Scream's really good to me. I really still enjoy it. It did, at the time did a lot for me as far as bringing me back into horror when I was, like I said, I was kind of dumpster diving. But honestly, Subspecies is not dumpster diving to me. I like those movies. If it wasn't for, that's something that I think I should be appreciative of this lackluster early 90s thing with horror is I got to find a lot of movies I probably would have never watched, with the Puppet Master movies and stuff like that, and the Children of the Corn sequels, which aren't great, but I had fun with them. But that brings our overall total to 90% for Scream, uh, which I believe that's a good score. I think that's right there. Rotten Tomatoes is not as kind to it, but Rotten Tomatoes doesn't like horror. We did the 5-star rating with our group, or the Horror Syndicate, and it came out to an 87% audience score. So all about the same ballpark, really, with the scores, which I think
those
is
are all
pretty
very
cool.
close.
Yeah. So within 6% or seven, I guess, percent. So the audience score, and I want to thank everybody who did rate all the movies we've been putting up the last few days, and just it's going to get so much worse because there's so many more movies we're going to get to. I'm also thinking about re-employing March Madness because of all of the following we have. I said I'd never do it again after last year, but I might do it again with the most popular movies because since last year, we've got over almost 9,000 new people following the Horror Syndicate. So I think probably going to do. Actually, I think it's over 10,000 now since last March. So I'll have to check the numbers on that for sure. But yeah, I think Scream's a great movie. It's one of the top 5 horror movies in the 1990s, where I think it's up there with, I'd say top 5. You've got Silence of the Lambs, Misery, Candyman, Scream, and In the Mouth of Madness are probably my top 5 from the 90s. And yours might be?
Oh shit!
Throw
In the
it
mouth,
on you like that.
I don't know, In the Mouth of Madness, Misery, Candyman, Scream. Oh, I need
4.
one more. I'm gonna go with Lord of Illusions. God damn it!
That's a movie that does not get any love. Any.
I love
being
it.
my being my top 10 for sure, but no,
Yeah.
it doesn't get any love. Nobody talks about that movie.
I would go either Lord of Illusions for number 5, or actually, I'm a sucker for Subspecies 2.
I know you are. I know you are. You love those fucking subspecies movies.
Damn straight I do.
There's nothing wrong. Who doesn't love a little Redu in their life? You
Yeah.
know.
Hey, the new one's coming out soon.
I know. I saw that. I didn't watch the. Was it a trailer or something like that?
Yeah, a poorly cut trailer, but
Scott
looking forward to
Bakula is awesome. Yeah, I'm not gonna watch it. I'll wait till I see the movie. I still like. I would like to get. I think I have the first one on Blu-ray, but I'd like to get them all on Blu-ray. And they announced this week that Horror Hound weekend is coming back to Indianapolis this year in August, and I will be there 100% for sure. Going to be there. And Full Moon always has a booth. And this year I might dive in and buy that big ass Puppet Master set. If they have some subspecies, I'm in. I'm buying it. So
Oddly enough, there's only one movie in the series that's not available on Blu-ray, and that's Part 4.
is it the Vampire Journals?
Nope. It's
just
it's Subspecies 4. Bloodstorm, I think it's called. It's the movie that has characters from Vampire Journals in it, but Vampire Journals is on Blu-ray, but Subspecies 4 is not. I don't understand why.
No, I'll get with my guy. Oh God, I can't think of his name now.
Oh,
the guy who runs the studio.
Yes, I know, and
Charles Band. I'll give
yes.
old Charlie Band, and I'll talk to him about that. Hey man, put Subspecies 4 on Blu-ray and give us a great looking set when the new movie's released. You know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Matter of fact, why don't you just let Scream Factory do your distro?
Yeah,
they should. I mean, although that Puppet Master set they have out is pretty awesome looking. But anyway, so next week, yes, we will be doing Scream 2. I'm debating on doubling up 1 week because I don't want to do. I think I want to try to do Scream 6 on the 10th, if we can. Because I think because I think we might be able to see it the day before or earlier that day.
I'm already planning on it.
Yeah, I mean, me too. So we might be able to do Scream 6 that day. And if I look at the calendar, let me pull up the calendar on my phone here. By the way, I know it's phone, but I like to call it a foam. This customer used to work at Radio Shack years back, and this customer used to come in. You got any more of those pay-as-you-go cell phones? So let's see. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so we have to double up at least 2 movies. Which ones do you think we should double up? I know you're going to want to do a full show.
No. Yeah. I mean,
what do you think?
We got showing some 5 for last year, didn't we?
No. We didn't, because I was the last one to see it.
Oh, we didn't?
You guys talked about it during a different show, and I left the room while you talked about it.
Oh, that's right. You couldn't see it right away.
Yeah, I had to wait.
Right?
Yep. So we did not. So I was thinking we could either do double up 2 and 3 or 3 and 4. because
I would go 3 and 4. I'll probably
yeah,
talk a lot about part 2.
yeah. So two is next week on February 17th. We were gonna do My Bloody Valentine, but fuck that movie. Um, it's okay. My Bloody Valentine's boring as shit. Yeah, we'll do two and
I like the
four.
remake
And
better.
V prefers the two. V, our producer, says we should do 3 and 4. Um, so we will. We'll do 3 and 4 on the week before the let's see 17th, 24th, and then on the 3rd we'll do Scream 5, and then we'll shoot for the 10th, the day of doing Scream 6, and we'll try to keep it as spoiler free as possible. Or should we just say fuck it and toss up the spoiler warning, or just keep the spoiler warning up the whole time that we're talking. Yeah, so Scream 6 is out and it's great, and Randy came back as the killer with Stu and Stu's mom, and because you can't see us anywhere and spoilers are up all over the page. So
Oh, I know, but that's gonna be tough though.
to not talk about spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a dick thing to do to mention spoilers. I think on that day.
Well, I wonder, what if we
Maybe we
did
could do like a. Could we do a record, like a discussion of it, like not live?
for our YouTube channel?
Yeah, and then you could just put like spoiler discussion.
What we could do is we could do the live show as the non-spoiler discussion, and then do like a 10 or 15 minute video that's spoiler.
Yes, let's do that.
I think we could do that,
Yeah,
because there's a way to record on here. I just have never used it before, so I don't know how it works. I'm gonna have to play with that beforehand. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's try that. Yeah, way we
Sounds
can
good,
get
man.
all the spoiler out of us before we go into talking about the movie live. So
Yeah,
because I know it's tough, because when we did our Hellraiser show, it was just me and you, and we all we wanted to do was spoil the fucking movie. We wanted to talk about all this and that and whatever, and we couldn't. And we did 2 shows in a row like that, I think, didn't we? It was Hellraiser and something else, I thought.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, I think that'll be good for Scream 6. So, and then when that's done, we'll get back to Friday the 13th on let's see, March 10th. No, March 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day. Shouldn't we talk about the Leprechaun?
We could.
Well, I think we should. And then we'll get back to Friday the 13th on March 24th, 31st, into April. And then, which I think I wanted to do Elm Street after that. I don't remember. But I
You
will
wanted to
say,
do Elm Street leading into your birthday, I think, or something like that.
yeah, the thing is, I'm now going to be out of town on that weekend. So we
Hmm.
might have to do the show on that Thursday, which is my birthday. So, because I'm going to Minnesota. Uh, yeah, my buddy lives up there. He's going to treat me to a Twins game.
Nice.
Baseball. Yeah. So it should be fun. Plus, there's this burger place up there. I think, I can't remember what it's called, but they sell this burger. It's called the Juicy Lucy. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's a patty with cheese in the middle of it, and then another patty on top of it, and they make it that way, and then they put another slice of cheese on top of it. That sounds amazing. So I don't know if you can't eat that stuff, can you? Or is that Nate?
I think Nate has the more
No.
severe.
Yeah, he can't eat cheese
Yeah.
at all. Yeah. Anyway, so I'll be up in Minnesota for my birthday weekend, and then of course that weekend in August, we will definitely. I tried making it at home because I saw it on Man vs. Food, and it just didn't go over very well, and the burger fell apart. But yeah, August. If I do end up, which I plan on going to Horror Hound, August 18th, we will not be doing a show either. So that's way down the line though,
Okay.
because and that means I've got 6 months to try to figure out a way to get you to Horror Hound.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm sure Nate and Keith will be there. Haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah.
Mixed up his names.
Yeah.
It's easier with him not being here, but I'm trying to get Jared to go too, but I don't think he's gonna be able to make it because he's getting married in October. So he's got to put all his effort and all that into the wedding, which I totally get.
Yeah.
So anyway, so if you again, if you haven't subscribed to the Horror Syndicate on YouTube, like us on Facebook. We are, what did I say? We were 33 away from 27,000 at the start of the show, which was an hour exactly ago. Let's see where we are now. We're 12 away from 27,000. So
nice.
It just keeps doing it all on its own. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't get it to stop. Come up to California for Monster Palooza in June. Where is that in California? Because I've been meaning to make a trip out there. I got a friend who lives out in she lives in Sacramento, and we were talking about driving down to LA so I could see, the Elm Street house, the Halloween house, all that shit. The Myers house, I should say. Yeah, I've already got expensive trips planned this year. I don't think California's in the cards. Maybe next year. Pasadena. Okay, that'd be perfect because that's where everything is, right? So, got to get to Topanga Canyon too, so I can try to see the Jarvis house. There's so much I want to do. I want to see Sunnydale High because that's out there as well. And I've heard the Myers house is like right near the Elm Street house. And I think they were filmed a couple streets over or something like that. And then also, I think we've talked about this a little bit, but did you know there's a scene in the TV version of Halloween that was filmed in the Elm Street house?
Yeah.
Isn't that fucking wild?
Yeah.
Nancy and Lori lived in the same house. And technically Annie did too, because Annie was upstairs in Nancy's room when she was talking to Lori on the phone. So it isn't what? The place to be? I'm fine where I am. I'm in the Midwest and I love it. So anyhow, well, I know the Myers house moved, but but when they made the movie, I think there were a couple streets over. If I'm not, I could be mistaken, but I think it's somewhere in the same neighborhood from what I don't know. I could be wrong. Sean Clark is my guide to all this stuff. So Horror's Hallowed Grounds. So anyway, Seth, if you haven't seen it, he did one on The Howling, locations on The Howling.
Oh, really?
It's on the Blu-ray, yeah. Return of the Living Dead, dude. His channel is Malfunction, and dude, I fucking watched all. I love that guy. I got to talk to him a couple times, and he's really cool. I want to get him on the show sometime.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You mean the movies lied? Anyway,
not a bad question, Bert.
Yeah, not a bad question, Bert. I need to get that soundbite set up somehow on here because I think I still have a couple of those sound bites, but I'm not sure how to use it while we're live. Like, yeah, because I have the Prophet of Doom and the description of Seth.
An asshole. An asshole. An asshole. An asshole. An asshole.
Yeah.
An asshole.
Yep. Jack knows.
blood, ain't you? Never.
Anyway, we're gonna go. It's been a fun time. Have you had a good time, Seth?
Yeah. I'm honestly really looking forward to talking about part 2.
I know you are because it's your number 1 of the series, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you're an edgelord. You do that on purpose because you're like, oh, Hellraiser 2 is my favorite. It's like, come on.
Oh, I'm a total edgelord. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you are. You're
and
a shill and an edgelord. Anyway, shorthand we call it Keith. Anyway, Scream 2 is the best of the bunch. I disagree. It's my number 3. Yeah, so we'll talk to you guys next Friday with Scream 2. On Wednesday, it's a surprise show for the Horror Syndicate Discourse. Nate's not going to be with us, so we're going to figure something out. It could end up being just Seth and I. And honestly, Seth, if it's just the two of us, we may just do Scream 2 on Wednesday and do Scream 3. That way we get them all in because I want to make sure to get them all in. But I also kind of want to talk about an Italian horror movie. Like, I'm like thirsting for it. Anyway.
Which one?
I haven't decided because we've done Demons, and I think that was like the only one we've done, isn't it?
Yeah, I think. Did we do
We
one
were going
on?
to talk about Zombie, but we never got around to it. And it is Zombie Month, so we could talk about Fulci Zombie, or we could talk about City of the Living Dead or The Beyond or something like that. Although Nate actually said he wants to talk about The Beyond. So City of the Living Dead, maybe Zombie or Zombie 3. I don't know. Zombie 3 is terrible, but I love it. So I don't know. We'll talk. We'll talk about it. Nate's not going to be on. We got a few days to figure it out. You have a wonderful weekend too. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate anybody who watches this show and hangs out with us and hangs out and does stuff on the Horror Syndicate. I hope you're all having fun. And don't forget,
Evil dies tonight!
right? All right. We will cover the Halloween movies in reverse order in around October. So everybody have a great weekend. We will see you next week with a new episode on Scream 2. It's either Wednesday or Thursday, Wednesday or Friday, more than likely Friday. And the Supernatural Syndicate will be back on Tuesday. So we will talk to you all later. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl if you watch it. Stay safe and watch some good old-fashioned horror movies. We'll see you.